Kia ora, g'day, welcome back once again, here with another reaction to Mr. J. Cowell. I believe this is part 8, or my 8th reaction so far, to Mr. J. Cowell on the Sean Ryan Show. J. Cowell, former 2-2 SAS operator, and the heading, as you can see, charged with murder. So, let's jump back in.
Just fucking compartmentalise it. That's all I could do. And it wasn't 10 years down the line, it fucking blew up. I got blown up again, another suicide bomber, and I was actually with C Squadron at the time, from the unit. Yeah, from the unit, yeah. I was attached to them for a year, and I remember getting blown up one night, side of a building, and watching my whole team basically just get fucking... Whole building went on top of them. I was fucking for sure everyone was dead. Turns out that everyone survived. It was one of those fucking Pulp Fiction moments, you know. I mean, talk about that in a bit more detail later, but like that blew the lid off the fucking box, basically. Like that. After that, I just unraveled, slowly but surely unraveled to the point of, yeah, to a fucking dark place. But for 10 years, I just didn't look, forgot about it, just carried on, just keep going. One more deployment, one more deployment, one more deployment. Just keep putting it in the box, put it in the box, put it in the box. Box gets full. Box breaks. I broke. But yeah, to answer your question, I didn't deal with it. I just fucking carried on. What else got to do? Like, I kept running. I kept running because I knew if I stopped and looked back, I'd never stop, never start again, you know? Yeah. I came back from that deployment and it's like, even coming back on R&R, man, I went back to the main patrol base, and a dear friend of mine who I was in training with, we were recruits together, a guy called Rian, everyone calls him Twiggy, dead skinny guy. He was a machine gunner. He was a fucking, you know what I mean? He was a good machine gunner. I remember our patrol base, you had to go back to the big base because that's where the helicopters were, and that's how you flew back and went on R&R. So I was out of my patrol base and into the big base, relieved as fuck, 4 months into the deployment, handed in all the fucking necessary equipment. I've just got basic ammunition, my rifle, about to fly, and in 24 hours I'm home in the UK with my brand new daughter that I've fucking spent 2 weeks with, right? And they go out on patrol, and we're sat in the sort of chow hall, which was a tent, and the first one goes off, boom, and you're like, yeah, that's a fucking IED. And then everyone's up, QRF are out, the fucking whole place is going, and we're on R&R, so we've not really got a job to do at this point. And I was with a couple of other guys, and we were like, fuck it, let's get our body armor on and get on the wall. Everyone's on the wall now. Everyone's shooting from the wall. We're trying to provide fire support. About a couple of minutes later, boom, second one goes off. This was a joint patrol, US Marine Corps, and guys from Charlie Company. And they went out. First IED struck command wire. They waited for the guys to come in and try and recover the casualties, and then they fucking pulled the next one. So we lost 2 guys that day, a US Marine and a guy called Jonathan Crooks. And initially, we started fighting from the wall. Like, dude, I'm going home in fucking 24 hours. I'm on the wall now fighting. And then it was like, we need fucking people to help bring the casualties in. And I feel guilty for it. I was like, I hope it's not fucking Twiggy. And I knew it wasn't because I could hear his fucking machine gun going. I was like, yeah, he's all right. He's fucking sending it. So I'm like, fuck yeah. And then we go to the back gate and we're just carrying the bodies. We're just carrying these fucking dudes back into the med bay, basically, where they're getting treated. And there's 4 or 5 different casualties, different categories of categories. You've got like ones that are clearly no longer with us, and then other guys that are all fucking fragged up and all the rest of it. And I remember clearly, and I still can't get my fucking head around this. Like we put the guys in stretchers and in the bags, and the fucking dude in the med center, I don't know what his problem was, but he's like, they've got to go on head first. And I'm like, dude, it don't fucking matter. And he's like, they got to go on head first. That's the way the helicopters are set up to deal with casualties. And I'm like, I fucking get it. I know, but it doesn't make a difference. Do you understand what I'm saying? And he's like, they've got, and I'm fucking, I don't know what ends the head and what's not the fucking head. You know what I mean? How the fuck am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? When I open the fucking, I have this fucking to and fro, and we put the guys on the fucking helicopter. Everyone goes away. Go and sit back down. And they're like, R&R flight's coming in 2 hours. And you're like, now what the fuck do you do? 24 hours later, I'm at fucking Bryce Norton with a brand new baby in my fucking hand. I'm like, I was not ready. I was not ready to be a fucking dad. I was not ready to deal with that. I just wasn't ready. And I fucking isolated myself because the only place I felt like I could have any control was being on an operation, which is a weird one because I was helpless there, if that makes sense. But it was a pain that I knew. Do you know what I mean?
It became home. It became home.
It became home. It became.
Right. There's a lot in there, man. Jeez. Feel for the fella. Love the honesty around it. I think he said 10 years later, when to the earlier question that Sean had asked him on the previous reaction, how did he deal with it? He said, I didn't deal with it. I boxed everything up, compartmentalized it, put it into a box, filled the box up. The box broke. He mentioned. Man. And then to have that happen, you get him ready to go on R&R, having the back and forth with whoever the medic or the loadie was for the choppers. I can't remember whether he said it was a medic or a loadie. They've got to go on head first. Right. It's a lot to take in, man. In the fight, on the wall anyway, as he describes it, then carrying bodies, getting them onto the chopper, then back sitting down. Your flight for R&R to take you out of country is going to be here in however many hours. Then back home, presented with the baby. I can't imagine what that was like for him. But the part we spoke about, he isolated himself. That stuff I can connect with, and I think a lot of males probably in general can connect with that, whether you've served in the military or not. But that isolation piece, I can definitely. I've been guilty of that. More times than I can count. But hearing him speaking about why he was going into that far out, that must have been pretty lonely and dark for him, as he's sort of touched on and alluded to, and I guess we'll hear a bit more later on.
And what I knew, it was so intense for me that I gravitated towards it. It was easier to be a fucking Marine in that field than it was to try and learn how to be a dad. I got no template on how to be a dad. How the fuck do I know how to do that? You know what I mean? You're talking to me about washing machines. Like, how the fuck do I care if the washing machine's not broken? We've got to go grocery shopping. The fuck? Like, that's where I'm at with it. I was incapable of acting like a fucking normal human being.
I'm not laughing at him. I'm just laughing at the things that he's describing because those are things whereby the boss at home or your sweetheart, your wife, your spouse, partner, they're the ones that hold that stuff down. They've got it Lincoln squared away, sorted. And so when he's talking about he felt more at home, or Sean, I think, said it became home for him being away on deployment. A lot of guys talk about it like that. Bill Bester spoke about it like that when he got out, and then he was over in the Middle East doing a whole bunch of private security stuff, hearing the bangs going off around in the compound and that sort of thing. He's like, oh, I'm at home. Like, you just, right or wrong, you develop traits, habits, and for want of a better term, not to sound blasé at all, because you're not, but you develop, I suppose, a level of, maybe not comfort, may not be the right word, but you feel probably a bit more settled. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for in those environments, as opposed to being back home, trying to reintegrate back into the family, trying to fit in with the family again. Where do I plug in? How do I fit in here? The kids look like they don't even know me, or they're a bit hesitant. That'd be tough. I mean, I get it. The baby is 2 weeks, or he saw the baby for 2 weeks or something like that before he left. So it might be a month or maybe a few weeks older, but still, that's a lot to take in. And then to try to, how do I handle this fragile little person? Changing nappies is a mission until you get used to it and better at it. But yeah, all those things, the shopping, if the washing machine isn't working, all these little things that just you don't have to deal with as a soldier, for the most part. Man.
Because my brain was not there, it was in that fucking field. And it took years to fucking to sort that out, you know. and I don't think I'm ever over it, but I'm at peace with it now, to a point. But that deployment there,
Was your mind, I mean, did you have any emotional connection to your daughter after experiencing that?
other than the fact I loved her, not really. And I hate myself right now. I do. It was really hard to build that bond, you know. I was a shitty fucking dad for a long time, you know. I just didn't know how to do it. I didn't. If I was as fucking good a dad as I was an operator, I'd be fucking perfect. But I wasn't, and I'm not. And, you know, that fucking young girl did 10 deployments. 10 fucking deployments she did, you know. And I look at her now and I'm so fucking proud of her. I'm so impressed. She's got such grace and kindness about her. And I look at her. Yeah. And that's why when some of the stuff that's happened to me recently, I look at it and I'm like, you know what? Fuck you for putting me in this position for her. You know, she deserves better than that. She does, you know. There's still a piece of me in that field. There's a piece of my soul that will never come out of that fucking field. And I'm sorry for her that she had to miss that. But I hope, you know, she sees this and grows up. I did that for her. I want to protect her, you know. And she kept me going, dude. Like,
Do you want to mention her name?
no, for some reasons that we've talked about before.
I understand that.
Yeah. But
What
honestly,
changed? When did you start your bond with your daughter?
I love how he's spoken again, real raw and honest, eh? I was just on a meeting recently, last night, in fact, and the individual that's preparing for getting themselves ready for selection is a father, got a young child, and that was one of the questions that he asked me. How did I cope with and integrate into the family when I would be at work and then go away, whether it was training or whether it was on a deployment and then coming back? How did I find my way within the family to, you know, how did I manage it? And I think this, yeah, I think the person, so I was honest with them, I basically said almost very similar words to what Jay just mentioned in the context of that I was a crap father and a crap husband. I was just fixated on work. My wife has spoken about it. I'd go to work, I'd come back from work, and then I'd do some more work, tinkering with my kits and all that sort of stuff, but I could make that last for as long as I wanted to. Home but not home, and just didn't saw them, loved them, but didn't give time to them the way a father should, the way a husband should. I was just, and that's why I say I was crap. So when I was listening to Jay, it is same again. It has taken me a long time, many years to build a relationship with my children. And I've shared that on a reaction that I did to DJ Shipley's, where the relationship with one of our children, one of our 6, was pretty fractured. Now, thankfully, my relationship with all 6 of my children is, it's in a beautiful place. And I'll be forever grateful for that. But, just lots of guys that I know as well will talk about, I suppose we recognize and can bring to the forefront the shortfalls and shortcomings that we have had as fathers, as husbands. And it's hard to get rid of those. I don't think, for me, I find it a good reminder, and it's good for me to have that reference point for how terrible I was, because I don't want to go back to being like that again. So, yeah, I love hearing Jay speaking about where he was at. That piece about a part of him will always be out in that field. Not surprised with 11 or so deployments that he's been through, and then him acknowledging and recognizing that his daughter and his, I think his wife or his partner, and his mum, other family members have done those same 11 plus deployments that he's been on as well. It's a heavy load the family carries, even though they may not physically be out there. They're carrying it at home. They're worrying about it when the news goes on, when somebody's passed away from their country, from a particular unit. Their minds are going to, is that this person? Is that my husband? Is that my dad? Is that my son? Etc. Etc. It's a lot of stress and a burden to carry equally for them as well, I reckon.
It took a couple of years. To start to build back up, but
Did you feel guilt?
yeah, still do. A lot. You know, it's, for guys like us, there's a prescription, right? It's like, there's the problem, there's the solution. When it comes to emotional stuff and, you know, that, I don't have a template. I don't have a reference point. I don't know what being a good dad looks like. Not to say I didn't have a good dad, I just didn't really have that in my life, you know? I just hope, pray that one day she'll grow up and go, okay, cool. That's what my dad was about. That's why he was there. That's why I missed the birthday. That's why I missed the football match, the Christmas, whatever it might be, you know? Because I felt like I was trying to do something good. I was trying to make sense of a fucking hopeless, chaotic situation. And the only thing I could do to stop myself from drowning was go back to war. Because the only thing I knew. And it's just, yeah, it's a shame that she's had to do that. But I think, you know, her mother's fantastic with her. Like I've never had any problems with my mother, my daughter's mother, in terms of like, when I'm away, I always know that home's being taken care of. And I'll always be fucking grateful to those women for that, you know? My daughter's mother is a fucking exceptional mother. And she's had to deal with a shit ton. It can't be easy watching your daughter with her father on R&R staring at fucking bodies coming up the hill. Like, and I was there for every one of them when I was on R&R. Like, that's a fucking intense place to be. And she's fucking ridden that storm. And I want to say this, and I want that hundreds, thousands of families have been through that from the British Army. So when people say we didn't fight this or we do that, like, that fucking upsets me, Sean, because we fucking paid in blood in those fields and we fought side by side with the US military, and we'll always continue to do that. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. And if it wasn't for, you know, the support and the coalition and the brotherhood that British and US soldiers have, I wouldn't be here. And I fucking damn sure know a lot of other people wouldn't too, you know. But there's a lot of families, you know, the Afghan generation has fucking paid a heavy, heavy price. And they don't get enough credit. Everyone wants to see special forces dudes with night vision and panavision doing fucking fast roping and all the sexy stuff. Like, I'm here for it. I fucking love that shit, trust me. But what about that fucking young Marine who got shot off a wall? What about him? They deserve more credit. Like, I'm going to be honest with you right now. Like, nothing I did in special forces was anything like as dangerous as that. Imagine going on a 10-hour patrol in the day with no assets, no fucking dedicated JTAC, no ISR, no Gucci weapon systems, no night vision, no tactical advantage, and fucking back-breaking fucking loads in 45-degree heat for 6 months in a minefield with a shitty ROE and fucking no experience for the most part. That's harder. Those guys deserve more credit. All right, it's not sexy. Everyone wants to know about the big fucking mesh and all the cool shit. But what about those fucking dudes, you know? So I try and talk to that more, because it's like...
I think about that all the time.
You do?
I do. Yeah.
Man, it's so cool to hear him, and now Sean as well, acknowledging that. But I think we also heard Jay Cowell speak about and give us a bit of an insight into what that was like in his time in the regiment, and in the Royal Marines, and him going through that and painting a picture of their deployments and what it was that they were doing, and he was involved in some hectic stuff. So that's really cool to hear him, talking more or shedding more light on that. Definitely not cool or sexy, when you hear that. What? I want to sign up to do that? But those men do. And there are men that do sign up to do that. And I think now women as well, maybe, as part of that, the Royal Marines, to sign up and do that. So that's cool. And then hearing Sean, because I don't think Sean spent any time in a conventional unit. I think he went straight to SEALs and straight into the SF space. So anyway, let's crack back in and listen to them.
And I remember I interviewed this guy, a friend of mine, Cody Alford, who was a Marine.
Yeah. Is he a dude with a tattoo on his neck? Is that him?
He's got tattoos everywhere.
That's the dude. I do know the dude, yeah. Well, I don't know him, but I know who you mean.
But when he described his experience in Fallujah, very, very similar. And I think he would say the same thing that you just said about conventional guys, and they don't get enough credit.
No.
And they don't get the recognition that they deserve. And they have it harder than everybody.
Fuck yeah, they do.
With less gear, with less training.
Everything. Yeah, man.
Less ammunition to put down range for training, like Sean just spoke about. The equipment isn't as good. The jobs and the tasks and the missions, they don't have the support or the same assets available that Jay just outlined, the JTACs, the ISRs. It surprised me. I think these days, obviously, there's night vision equipment and stuff available. I can't speak for the British Defence Force, but I know that, even regular infantrymen get issued with those items, with that equipment for your job, for the purpose of the work. So that's a little bit surprising and really disappointing to hear that. But man, cool to hear these guys speaking about their conventional operators and the massive work and service that they do. And I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had to go through serving the infantry, although it was pretty much peacetime at the time that I went through. Then Timor started, and then 9/11. So, and then the global war on terror.
I see some of these guys now, and I'm just like, I'm so fucking proud of them. I am. I'm so fucking proud of them. Such strength those guys had, You're looking at 19-year-old kids dealing with that shit. And that deployment isn't the end of it. You got to go and live 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years after that, And nothing can take that away. And people who go, you were Royal Marines, you joined to go to war. Fuck yeah, we did. And we did a fucking good job at doing it. And we were fucking impressive. But there is a price to it. There is a consequence to it, Most guys left after that deployment. I didn't.
And that's the thing too, when there have been and somebody that I consider a mate, I was lucky enough to work with him in the private sector space, Colin McLaughlin, ex-22 SAS guy, Scottish fellow by background, heritage, I believe. But he's touched on and spoken a bit about in interviews whereby he has expressed that it would be good, or that there should be, I think he maybe said should be, or would be good, words to that effect, to have in place, some sort of support for those veterans that have served, that continues with them once they exit the military, that stays with them. They have access to a level of support for the remainder of their lives, so to speak. And there's probably some merit to that, but also just what Jay is speaking about. I can see the other side of the coin when people go, well, you volunteered to do that, Joe, Jay, Colin, Bob, Steve, whoever. You guys volunteered to do it. So why should we, as taxpayers, have to fund you and you having this little extra special thing or support or whatever? So I can understand that part of the argument. I'm neither here nor there in terms of that. If something like that existed, it just so happens that I'm not aware of anything like that existing. Yeah, there's Veterans Affairs, stuff like that, accessible for people that want to go and access it. Just like there's the medical centre and other things that people can access if they want to, or WINS that people can access if they want to. So, but I think that's a personal choice. And yeah, there are some people potentially like Jay and like Colin who've been through some very hearty and heavy things that can speak to that, and that can, I guess, with more authenticity, speak about how important a service like that could, or would be. So I think in theory for anyone, including me, it sounds good and makes sense. But the other part of me is also, I volunteered to go into the military in general. Nobody forced me. I wasn't conscripted or anything like that. I volunteered. I wanted to go. And like you said there, yeah, Royal Marines, they volunteered. They wanted to go to war, and they did. And they represented themselves, their unit, exceptionally well. There are, like you said, consequences, costs associated with that service that sometimes we're not always, well, I know for me, I had no idea of. I didn't know what the cost would be and how I would feel and all that sort of stuff. Not the same types of costs and feelings and experiences that Jay has had at all. For me personally, I've not had those. But yeah, there's a cost applicable to me and my family, and that almost cost me and my family the relationships that we have through separation, and possibly could have led to divorce. So anyway,
I'm glad I didn't, because if I had, then I probably would have ended up taking my own life like my friend did, and a bunch of other people I know. Because that's what happened, Sean. They stay in those fields and they don't ever deal with it, and then all of a sudden they just put their uniforms on, put their medals on, and they fucking hang themselves.
Is that what your friend did?
Yeah. Ash, he did that. Yeah, there's too many of them, man. This fucking feels like one a week at some point. These fucking guys aren't getting no support, bro.
I know that.
They're just fucking not getting enough support. And it's...
Is that the first friend that you lost to suicide?
The first one that I allowed myself to feel any pain for, yeah, if that makes sense. I've lost a bunch. And again, it goes back to the same patrol base, like mentality. It's like, it might not be somebody that I know well, but I know somebody that does. And it echoes through our community, like it reverberates. And they're fucking still doing it, dude. They're still doing it. They're fucking killing themselves, and it's like, fuck. I don't know how to get my head around that, you know? It's like me and my best friend, my best friend was way closer to Ash than I was, but we were all recruits together. And it fucking nearly killed him because he felt guilty about it. He was phoning him that day. They were fine. Everything was all good. Checking up on him. Everything's good. He goes home, puts his uniform on, puts his medals on, puts his beret on, hangs himself in the garage. That nearly fucking killed my friend. You know?
I'm sorry.
Me too. I'm sorry. But that's the reality of it, you know? And I don't know what to say. I don't know. We went to his grave not long ago. His son's there. How the fuck do you explain that? How have that conversation, you know?
man, that's heavy. I'm just looking at the time as well. Probably going to wrap this one up here on this part. Bit of a somber note to be wrapping it up on, but heavy stuff. And you see that, you know, there's been more deaths post that global war on terror and other conflicts combined by servicemen and women committing suicide. I don't know how many servicewomen have done that, but the vast majority of servicemen or former ex-servicemen have committed suicide post these operations and these deployments. And that's hard, man. Far out. I don't, like Jay, I would have no idea what to say to the family, to the loved ones. Yeah, what can you say? Other than trying to encourage people to, man, not give up, eh? Easier said than done, 100%. I get it. I know it is easier said than done. When you start going down a dark spiral, dark downward spiral, it's hard, man. It's hard to pull yourself out, and it's hard to allow others to help you. Yeah, it's difficult. All I can say is that I know that those dark times, those downward spirals, that loneliness, that isolation, that feeling of worthlessness, as dark and as miserable as it is, it doesn't last forever. And if you want to pull yourself out, like, it can be done. If you can't do it by yourself and you feel better with having other people to reach out to grab onto for support, I know that there's people out there in your space that would gladly help you if you're feeling down and dark and feeling like it's just not worth it sticking around. I can only share my experience and promise you that it is worth sticking around, that it is worth fighting for, that it is worth staying in the fight and turning up and putting one foot in front of the other, and that it is worth embracing the misery. and the suffering and the sadness that you are feeling. It's worth embracing all of that and trying to continue to fight to move forward. So anyway, if you made it this far, I appreciate you and your time. As always, the message is the same. It's sort of not necessarily strictly in line with this, but maybe the opposite end of it. No matter your challenges or trials or struggles, keep turning up, keep staying in the fight. I know it sucks and I know it's not easy, but it does get easier. Just stay in the fight. Put one foot in front of the other. I promise you there is a light at the end of the tunnel. I promise you the sun will shine again. As always, go always a little further. Remember, who dares wins and who cares wins. And until the next video, there's a big mana wave coming from me to you, filled with my aroha, respect, appreciation, and gratitude for you all.